Certainly be seeing plenty of that today.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really refer to it when it happened, but there was an early timeout as well, that was called. I mean, is that panic or is that trying to just get your team on track again?
I believe we'll see a lot of that today, a lot of commitment. These players are fighting for what is the biggest fixture of the game, undoubtedly. We've got that rivalry, but also the bragging rights that come off this game. Overall in Varsity, Uni of Sheffield are running away with it, but that will won't matter to the players today. It's all about this game.
Yeah, and I mean, we just saw the women's game as well earlier on tonight, and the Hallam women managing to pick up the win there. So they're going to want to get that 100% record on this court today in terms of the men's and women's first, winning both of them, which will be a mightily impressive job.
Yeah, most certainly. We saw the Hallam women blow the Uni of Sheffield ladies out the water with what was a 20-plus lead at the end of the game. As I say, Uni of Sheffield make a throw here. And number 7 will be going for another one, Jack Loisel.
Doing these free throws, and he seems to be able to keep his cool. He missed his first one of the day, and usually in those types of scenarios, you can kind of see the players maybe being a bit hesitant on their next throw, but he seems to have not cared about that. He missed his first one, got his second, and now he's got 2 on the bounce there. It's incredible to see.
With it being his 6th year in the club, we can always rely on him to have a cool head. He knows what Varsity is all about. As number 12, Zach Moore, gets an incredible 3 points there.
Yeah, you can see exactly why he is their top point scorer. And they go again, Union.
Oh, it's slam dunk! Romeo Ramel. Absolutely incredible scenes here as the Uni of Sheffield side erupts.
He's usually actually deadly from the 3-point line, but that time he decided to dunk it, and Union are going forward again.
Number 12? Oh, it's incredible. They're running away with it here. Zach Moore, absolutely incredible there. Romeo Ramel was sort of usually good on 3 points, but slam dunks it there. Jack of all trades, more like Romeo of all trades. Absolutely incredible.
And because of the foul by Hallam there as well, almost like a desperation sort of foul, has ended up possibly even costing them even more points at this moment in time. Because now, Union's top point scorer has the potential to add a few more to the board.
I mean, who could have seen this coming? Zach Moore getting another opportunity to further Uni of Sheffield's lead, but he doesn't manage it. But he retains the ball. He's in possession. Oh, he doesn't quite get it, and Hallam retain the ball on a turnover.
Hallam needs to get points on the board desperately because there is currently a over 20-point lead developing here. Hallam have to get points, and I thought that was going to be it there to get more points on the board, but apparently they just haven't got those shooting boots so far in this game.
Certainly not, or handing boots. Don't know if you'd describe it as that, but we're certainly seeing Uni of Sheffield dominant here.
Yeah, massively dominant, and looking at Union, this is their most successful year in their club's history so far, and you can see why. You can see why they're the Northern 2B League champions. You can see why the Northern Conference Cup champions as well. I mean, I think Hallam would have understood that they were going to be in a fight today, but it seems like it's an uphill battle at this point.
Yeah, most certainly. And we have also just seen Uni of Sheffield bring off captain Jack Loisel for first year Levy Wright, who'll be hoping to make more of an impact, as he could do here. Oh, and it just goes out, and it will be a Hallam ball.
We are just going to have to take a little bit of an interval here due to some technical issues, but we will be back in a minute.
Right, so the technical issues have been dealt with, and since then, Uniov managing to get more points on the board, and unfortunately, none for Hallam.
No, it seems to be a big shock so far, as number 7 misses a three-pointer, and Uniov again will be taking it out from the back here.
Yeah, I mean, University of Sheffield in their league have had the best offense and best defense, and I mean, we can kind of see that here because the entire time, Uniov have really been attacking at this game. They seem to have this free-flowing attack, and almost forcing Hallam to counter-attack them.
It's absolutely incredible, this style of play that Mike Tuck's been able to implement with players who he's known for, 8 months? It's absolutely incredible that he's able to turn this round, varsity-wise, and then potentially, don't want to speak too soon, but potentially getting a first win in over 20 years. It's incredible.
It is incredible to see, and you're seeing the desperation, I think, coming out for Hallam at this point, as their speeds on these counter-attacks are getting quicker and quicker, but a turnover there, and a round of applause for the Uniov team by the fans, and it's almost getting worse and worse for Hallam. They need points on that board, I think, just to try and get themselves going at this point. Yeah,
certainly. I mean, I don't think we've got such a thing at hand to us, but a shot conversion rate, if I look at Hallam, especially from the 3-point line, it'll be tough viewing if you're a Hallam supporter so far.
Yeah, you can see on the other side of the pitch, all of the Hallam fans are kind of almost in a stunned silence at this point. They were giving it, there was a lot of chants before the game, and it's almost a stunned silence. But even on the Uniov side, although we're hearing them kind of come out their shell now, it's almost been like a stunned silence on this side as well.
I think that's just everyone everyone's definitely nervous to see how this one unfolds. It's one of the highlights of varsity overall, definitely, and it's a surprise so far what we've seen, and Uni of Sheffield will be hoping that this continues.
Yeah, what will make Uniov, I think, more confident is the fact that they've said it ourselves to us behind the scenes, that they actually have a really large squad depth. They have depth in quality, not just depth in terms of players, but depth in quality as well. And that's only going to concern the Hallam side as they lose possession again. And luckily for Hallam, Uniov squandered their chance.
Yeah, that was very surprising. But in terms of the depth of quality, that's definitely going to come into play for Uni of Sheffield in the 3rd and 4th quarter, when perhaps their key players, the Jack Loisel, all them, they're starting to feel a bit jaded, a bit tired. They've got that depth on the bench to sort of figure that he isn't a massive miss. And in terms of fitness as well, in the 4th quarter, that's when all the players will be getting fatigued, and Sheffield Hallam will be suffering the consequences of that one a lot more, having that lack of depth on the bench.
Arguably, you could argue that actually it would be Uniov who will struggle more as more points go on the board there for Uniov. You could argue that Uniov are in a worse position in terms of that 4th quarter, in terms of, getting tired, because the energy that Uniov have had throughout the start of this game, that surely they cannot keep this up, as it looks there like Hallam have managed to find a little bit of momentum again.
Well, certainly. I mean, it's the old football saying 2-0 is a very dangerous scoreline, especially early on. And there is always the opportunity for Hallam to come back if perhaps the players are getting a bit tired on the Uniov side.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming towards the end of this 1st quarter now. And you can see the Hallam players starting to maybe find their groove in this game a little bit, as there's a few substitutions happening now. And it looks like their oldest player, Nico, Hallam's oldest player, Nico, is going to get things underway. And the Hallam players will be hoping that they can build up some momentum. But there was a foul there.
Yeah, it seemed to be a bit of a push from number 7 as he was trying to bring out the ball. Number 5 might have been blocking him as he tried to get to the halfway line. It's never something you want to see in varsity. It's all about sportsmanship, and there was a lack of it there, certainly.
A lack of it, and that little bit of lapse of concentration might have actually allowed Hallam back into this game.
Yeah, certainly, and they are able to make the free throw. That's number 7, and he will get another chance to get another point on the board for Hallam.
A little cheeky shush there as well from the captain, T, and he's getting a lot of abuse from the fans now, and he makes them shush one more time. I don't think the Uni of fans really appreciated that one, but the Hallam fans definitely will.
Yeah, so that seems to have elevated the Hallam fans. The Uni of definitely getting on his back there, but to be able to shush your rival fans, it certainly brings the Hallam fans on their knees, on their feet, and they'll be looking for more of that from the player. Ooh, the turnover here for Hallam as number 7 again brings it out.
Yeah, the 6'9" giant Charlie gave that ball away, and you can feel the momentum shifting quickly here.
Yeah, in a matter of seconds, and again, he's got his ear to the Uni of fans. He's loving this attention, and ever since he's came on, he's caused absolute pandemonium. Maybe that's what Hallam were missing as they were losing so far in the first quarter.
Yeah, you can tell why he is the captain, why he is the leader of this team, because since he's been getting into this game himself, you can feel that momentum sort of shifting, and the more he gets into this game, the more you start feeling that Hallam are going to get into this game.
Yeah, Middle Bramble really is sort of the key, the heart, the aorta of this side, and again we see it there. He's able to make that free throw, and Hallam very close to getting back into it here.
In a matter of seconds, it feels like the scoreline has gone from over 20 points in the lead for Uni of to only an 18-point lead, which I'm saying only, but in terms of what was going on, it's not as much of a battering anymore.
No, certainly not, and Uni of will be sceptical over how the past 2 minutes have gone, considering how much of a comfortable position. It seems that point cushion that they had before, it seems to have been wiped out, and number 7 again just bringing it out. He seems to be controlling this game ever since he's been introduced.
Yeah, massively controlling this game. There's only 10 seconds left of this quarter, and you're expecting Hallam to try and usher an opportunity, but they kind of squandered it, and it seems like Uni of are going to try and end this quarter in good fashion, and they do not. And that is the end of the first quarter. I mean, one for the history books, it feels like, for Uni of.
Certainly, they wouldn't have expected to be. Certainly, Mike would be expecting to have this conversation. Well, maybe he would. Maybe he's got confidence in his players that have had such an incredible season. Northern 2B League champions, incredible, and they managed to win the Northern Conference Cup. But certainly, with Hallam being such a great side, I think even he must be slightly surprised to be in such a lead going into after the first quarter.
They must be surprised, and so would Hallam be. Hallam, you can almost see some confused faces on the bench there while they're speaking to their coach, Matt. But if they continue the momentum that they ended that quarter with, you could possibly see this game changing very quickly.
Yeah, certainly. It's always the tale to take with Varsity. Everything can happen in a matter of seconds, and Hallam were making a difference at the end after a fairly shaky start. One thing I did notice, though, difference between Matt and Mike. Mike was a lot more vocal on the sideline. He was stood up, whereas Matt sort of let his team do their thing. I don't know if that's more of a trust in their players, or do you think it's more important for sort of the coach to be a bit more vocal in that case?
I think Mike is definitely more vocal, I think, because he almost has to be. He has to get this Uni of team to keep up this adrenaline and keep this going. Whereas I think with Matt, could it almost be that element of confidence of, maybe they've been in this situation before and they know how to turn this around. He knows his players know how to turn this around, and it's not going to come as a shot to it will come as a shot to him to a point at the scoreline, but he's still got that confidence that they are going to turn this around very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think Matt certainly won't be throwing the toys out the pram quite yet. His team definitely are still in, despite the points on the board going into the second quarter, which is just about to start. I think he's got all that confidence in his team that he has coached for a good few years now, and he'll definitely be expecting them to turn it around here, as we saw at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, we're about to start the second quarter now, and the question on everybody's mind is, can Uni of keep this up? And especially the man on the ball now, Zach Moore. Can Zach keep getting points on the board like he has been all season and like he was in that first quarter?
I mean, he's been absolutely incredible so far this game. For a first year as well, you wouldn't believe so. but he's been absolutely incredible so far.
It's been an incredible debut performance. I mean, there's not many people who I think would be able to deal with this energy that you've got from the crowd in their first year and deal with it with almost ease, it feels like.
Yeah, undoubtedly, this has got to be the biggest crowd, or one of the biggest crowds that he's ever played against. For a lot of these players, they seem to play against maybe a few fans week in, week out, but to have, a few hundred watching them on here, a very vocal set of fans as well that they might not be used to. Could that perhaps put them on the edge a little, or is it all about that mindset and that confidence and to get that to drive you on instead and use that as positive energy?
I think a lot of this is the mindset. You know, you've got to have that confidence and belief in yourself at all times, you know, which I think is why, as you said earlier, you haven't seen Matt throw his toys out the pram or any of the Hallam players really look concerned yet, because they've got that trust and belief in themselves as a team. And, you know, they've been together for a while. As the captain there missing that shot, it was a great attempt, but it just didn't quite pay off. And you're maybe seeing a bit of feistiness on the court right now.
It's certainly getting a lot, very much scrappy as Adebayo Meadle Bramble, the captain, brings it forward. He finds a pass on the edge. The 3-pointer has missed. And Uniov bring it out.
It feels like Hallam are trying to get those 3-pointers on the board, maybe more than driving it in, because they feel like they need it. And I don't know whether it's because they need it in terms of closing down that scoreline, or whether it's more just to get themselves back up, that adrenaline into them, and that passion and drive that they're going to get back into this.
Yeah, certainly they'll want to get in the groove, but 3-pointers aren't quite the way to do that. I imagine what goes through their head every time they do end up missing one, it sort of depletes them a little bit. It sort of, they might start feeling pessimistic about the game as Uni of Sheffield come through in the paint. Oh, and it's just missed by Zach Moore.
Yeah, and there's just some sloppy errors coming through the Hallam side right now. It's the simple things. It's the passing. It's those short passes in transition that have gone really well for Uniov so far. Hallam haven't been doing that. In transition, they've often given the ball away rather quickly, which you just can't afford to do, especially when you're this far behind.
Yeah, I certainly didn't think we'd be talking about this in a men's first game. I thought that would sort of be, the basics would be tied down and would be very minimal errors as Uni of Sheffield get another point on the board from a free throw, and he'll be able to get another one right here.
Yeah, Zach's hoping to take Uniov over that 30-point mark, and he does take them over that 30-point mark. When you look at Uniov's average points scored in their games this season, it's at 72, and they're at 30, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter yet.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible so far. Mike Tuck will be ecstatic, to say the least, as imminently we see Theo Hunt coming onto the court very soon. He's known to have a good shooting ability, especially from the three-point line. So they'll be hoping to sort of take advantage of that, certainly.
Yeah, a dribble going wrong there for Titus, and it kind of cost Hallam there. You know, they seem to look like they were building some momentum. Titus just not managing to keep the ball under his control and losing it. And now it's back again with Uniov back on the attack.
Yeah, certainly. It's been absolutely incredible here. We'll see Levy Wright come off, and he's put in a great performance so far. No doubt we'll be seeing him later on in the match. But yeah, again, Uni of Sheffield, despite the lapse of concentration at the end of that first quarter, have sort of galvanised themselves and sort of got back to what we've seen all season by them.
Yeah, they really have. And in the defence there, you can see Courtney Alexander, who actually has a season high for blocks. So maybe Hallam have brought him back into this defence to try and close this gap, as he attempted to get the ball there, but not quite managing to do it. And they're hoping he's the one to kind of change things. But right now, it doesn't quite look like it. But his presence alone might help in terms of Uniov maybe struggling in their attacks a lot more, as you just saw Hallam there get a few points back on the board.
Yeah, that was Titus Bizinis who managed to get another 2 points. But it's certainly, it's really crucial that the side has a vocal point on the side. They've got the coaches on the side who aren't being the most vocal right now, so it's always crucial to have a captain who they are most likely relying on. Oh, absolutely incredible stuff. Number 12, Zach Moore, first year again, causing absolute scenes in the Uni of Sheffield side.
And that was a confident shot to take as well, to switch it from one hand to the other and then cup it under and just almost float it into the basket. It was a majestic shot, and a shot by somebody that clearly has a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and certainly a side grown with confidence entirely. As number 6, oh! Very close there. Romeo Ramel, the France international, going so close, agonisingly close. As it's starting to get very scrappy this game as Uni Sheffield look to bring it out. Number 7 again. Oh, he's missed it again. And it's a turnover here with Hallam coming forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's so quickly, his counter-attacks. It's just going from end to end of this court. It really feels like every shot matters. And that one there, I really thought was going to go in for Titus again, who seems to be growing into this game slowly but surely.
He's most certainly a 3-point specialist, one that Hallam will be relying on to sort of tighten that gap, as they are clearly going for them 3 points. And you think Uni Sheffield will close them down, but they haven't closed down number 6 enough. Romeo Ramel, again, absolute chaos. He's causing absolute pandemonium in the paint there, and he's got another point on the board for Uni of Sheffield.
Romeo seems to be getting loads of points for Uni of, as there's another counter-attack here. And it's again Romeo again. But funnily enough, Romeo is actually really deadly from the 3-point line, and we haven't seen any of that. We haven't even seen him attempt a 3-pointer during this game. He's picking up 2 points after 2 points. And as we mentioned, with Hallam taking on a lot of 3-point shots, it's quite clear that sometimes just going basic is the better way to go.
And Hallam certainly aren't doing that. You have got to question their defensive style so far, not quite closing down the opposition and just leaving Romeo Ramel time after time after time again open, and he's just always going to capitalise on them shots.
And the point score right now is 36-12. It's back to a 24-point lead for Uni of Sheffield. We mentioned at the end of the last quarter that it was an 18-point lead and maybe things were starting to change, but very quickly Uni of have gone back under control and increased that lead beyond what it was even before Hallam pulled it back to 18.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, I'd like to point out number seven for Hallam has went very quiet ever since he was shushing the Uni of Sheffield fans, and as of the Hallam fans, went very quiet. But again, the Uni of Sheffield fans sort of keeping it down a bit as well. Again, the nerves probably getting on their backs.
I can really feel the nerves actually in this crowd right now through the Uni of crowd, because quite frankly, Uni of aren't used to this position. They know there's a long way in this game to go. We're only halfway through the second quarter, so it wouldn't surprise me if everyone's got this feeling that Hallam are somehow going to pull it out the bag like they have done year after year.
I mean, it's a different story to this year though, because this is such a revolutionised Uni of Sheffield side. It's nothing like we've seen before. And again, it's an incredible block there. Imzi Kamara, 6'9", 4th year at the club. We're seeing a lot more of that from him today.
Yeah, when you're that height, you're going to be relied on in defence, and he's coming clutch there.
Might have seen a foul there though, as Hallam again picked the ball up. On the 3-point line here, number 4. Oh! If that doesn't inspire confidence into your side, then nothing will.
Again, Titus. He made that mistake earlier on in this quarter, did Titus, and it seems like since that, it's rather than knocked his confidence, if anything, it's given him more to try harder and to really put pressure on this Uni of side, and keeps providing all of the points, it feels like, for Hallam.
I mean, this Hallam side haven't been on the best form, but he most certainly has Titus Bazinis been the diamond in the rough, time after again, getting them 3 points. Just number 11, Imzi Kamara going very close there. Again, capitalising on his height, absolutely massive, 6'9", standing tall. It's absolutely incredible so far since this came on.
It seems like Hallam have immediately seen that presence and tried to put Courtney Alexander on them. Their best in defence, as Titus again getting more points for Hallam. It's non-stop. It feels like everything that is going well for Sheffield Hallam at this point is going through Titus Bazinis.
Yeah, certainly. He's definitely one to watch out for. And then just need to close down on the man a little bit more, because I know what he's capable of. But number 11, again, he's been taken out there, and Hallam seemed to be taking advantage of him defensively and have been able to succumb that threat so far.
Yeah, that battle over between Courtney Alexander and Imzi Kamara seems to be something that is going to continue happening throughout this game, as he's tried to draw a foul there, and I think he's managed to do it as well, which was great stuff really by Mukar, who manages to draw that foul from Imzi, manages to wrong foot them, and right now you've got this opportunity to get some points on the board for Hallam again, and it's really stopping the momentum that Uniov started to build up. Hallam are getting points after points and back to back as well. Uniov aren't having that chance to get back into it as it goes straight into the basket there.
Yeah, this is bog standard for Adela Khan. He's managed to get a point here, and he will be expecting to get another one here as the Union Sheffield side. Oh, and he's missed it.
Yeah, you would expect if you get the first one for the second one to almost feel quite natural to go in, but not in that scenario. It seemed like the crowd on the Union side managed to pick up and maybe put him off a little bit.
Yeah, maybe wasn't expecting that. It was very last minute, that jeer from the Union side. It might have sort of rocked him a tired, certainly.
And you would expect it to as well, especially when you're this far behind. You're going to be knocked a little bit anyway, and then when the crowd start getting on your backside, you're going to struggle. But Uniov, the communication is great to see. You can see them driving in, and again it drove in, but doesn't quite manage to go in. But you also had Imzi in a lot of space as well on the edge of the D, and having an opportunity of possibly getting a 3-pointer. It seems like the Uniov communication is really going well for them.
Yeah, you can tell that it's certainly been causing a lot of trouble in the training ground. They've certainly been setting up some things, as we're seeing now. Number 12 on the edge of the D. He finds a pass, number 5, going into the paint. Oh, they seem to have a very much a tiki-taka style of play here. Oh, as he's quite missed it. Yeah, it seems to be all about the pass at Union Sheffield, whereas Hallam seems to be a lot more direct. You see them going for the 3-point shot a lot more, whereas Union Sheffield seems to be passing it around a lot more.
It almost feels like that desperation is starting to set in at this point. Hallam know they need to stop this, but they need to start getting points on the board. They need their fans to start cheering them that little bit, and maybe in their heads a 3-pointer or a couple of 3-pointers is the way to do that. And you know, this counter-attacking, maybe they've noticed that they're shorter passing, which in the first quarter wasn't that great. So maybe they're trying to go a bit more direct, maybe throw Uni of Sheffield off a little bit in terms of what their game plan is. As you see Imzi coming off there, who has put in a great performance and has been really useful to the Uni of side. And Courtney Alexander, his rival, it felt like, in his second quarter, also going off. There's an opportunity there for Uniov, and it does get squandered, and there's going to be a counter-attack now for Hallam.
Oh yeah, certainly. Titus Bazanius coming out ahead with it. Number 4, going for the 3-pointer, and it's sunk by Titus Bazanius. Absolutely incredible stuff. Certainly something we've seen a lot from him so far today. Oh, as there's a potential foul there. As Bazanius, after getting a point, has sort of brought down his man.
Yeah, it's that classic problem when you're counter-attacking. The opposition is counter-attacking after you just scored. You know, you got that adrenaline, you go to celebrate, and the next thing you know, the man you're meant to be marking is on the other side of the pitch, and you almost do anything at that point to stop it from going in the basket.
Yeah, it's certainly not a game where you can score a 3-pointer and then take your shirt off and go around the crowd. You've got to be back into it, level-headed, as it could go on the other side and do the exact same thing to you. It's such a highly intense game as number 7 looks to get into it now, but it's been closed off.
You could hear the cheers there from the Hallam supporters that they thought that was their opportunity there to go for a very, very great counter-attack. You know, that was almost going to be 3-on-1 at that point for Hallam, but unfortunately the foul was drawn, and Uniov still managed to keep that control with them as we get into the latter stages of this second quarter.
Ooh, yeah, they're certainly not panicking here, passing it around. They found number 7. He was just not able to get it in there, and Hallam will again come out. Again, they're looking a bit more composed here. Ooh, as there's a potential foul there. Gone the way of Uni of Sheffield by the looks of it.
Yeah, it feels quite lucky indeed for Uni of. It seems like there are little things that are going their way in terms of the decision making that, quite frankly, are stopping Hallam from getting back into this game. You know, Uniov haven't scored in a while. You know, they haven't scored a basket for a little bit of amount of time now. You're kind of feeling the tension in the room of Uniov need a basket and need one soon.
And will that be coming now? Number 12, and incredible stuff. Mike Tuck might have been getting worried there, maybe thinking that he needs to make some quick substitutions to get more points on the board, but number 12, Zach Moore, is able to stop that, and he's come up with the points there.
The ever reliable Zach Moore as well. You know, it's got to be good to have someone in your team that you can just rely on every single time in those pressure situations to get those points on the board when you need it most.
Yeah, it's certainly been a tale of tape this entire season. He's been absolutely prolific on the ball. Whether he's in the paint, whether he's on the three-point line, absolutely incredible, because always rely on him. Goes to the three-pointer. Oh, seems to be a foul there again on the three-point line. Uni of Sheffield.
Yeah, fouls being drawn left, right and centre here, and it really does feel like Hallam are giving away more of these fouls, and I think it is just that desperation starting to set in. I mean, you don't really see that on the bench either. Looking over at the bench, you know, you're not seeing that desperation, but it seems like the moment they're on that court, it's the tension builds in them, and they feel like they have to do something. As Zach misses, a rare miss there for Zach. I mean, you wouldn't expect him to miss, especially when you're not under pressure. You know, from this three-point line, as he goes again for his second try and does get that one in. If you don't make the first, you at least make the second, and it looks like he's going to get a third. Can Zach get them to the 40-point line? He got them to the 30-point line. Can he get them to the 40? And of course he can. Zach again, you know, he walks away, and it's like at that point meant nothing to him. It's like it's still 0-0 in his head. It's very cliche, but it very much seems like no matter what the point score is, his mentality never changes.
Oh, it's just like clockwork, the way he's able to get points on the board. Win or lose, although this season remain unbeaten, so we're not used to that. But he's always on the scoreboard. As again, there's a turnover, Uniov will try and bring it out here. Again, Hallam being very wasteful in the paint.
Yeah, you pointed out the undefeated home record of Uniov there, which I think a lot of people would have expected, you know, in this arena, in the EIS arena, you know, just maybe things would change, but it just seems like they're just taking that momentum through over and over again. That, you know, that season record 13-2, they're not used to losing this season, and again, we're going to speak about this man, Zach, but he's about to possibly get more points on the board. As he does get more points on the board, and there's a reason they're not used to losing, and one of those reasons is Zach.
Yeah, certainly first year at the club, his varsity debut, and you've got to look to him as the difference that has been made this year in comparison to other years. But also managerially, having that Mike Tuck on the sideline sort of inspires confidence in you to have such a prestigious part of the game, of the British game, to be cheering you on there. It must be incredible to sort of have that person as a sort of to keep you going.
Yeah, he very much does. You know, he has that presence on the sideline, as you mentioned, consistently has that presence on the sideline. I don't think he has once sat down during this game. He's very much keeping up that focus. As Courtney Alexander there with the shot that goes in for Hallam. Courtney Alexander on the court with a minute to go. We're down to that 40-second mark, and I feel like you're going to see the desperation by both teams to try and either increase this lead or decrease the lead, as a very rare occurrence here, as the ball got stuck on the basket there. Something that you don't see very often whatsoever.
No, definitely not. That's definitely once in a blue moon we'll see that. Mike Tuck there just before giving a little head pat. I assume he doesn't have an itchy head and instead giving instructions to his players, which shows the calmness and the composure of the players as they, again, despite the thrill of a varsity game, still working from the training ground and keeping that in their mind.
Yeah, Nathan Hull there, the third year with those points there for Uniov, just increasing their lead as Courtney Alexander is trying to get more points on the board, but he just doesn't manage to do it, and Zach is going on a vicious counter-attack and nearly makes them pay.
Yeah, it was very close from Zach there, but again, still, I think he managed to win a foul here, and he'll get another go to get some points on the board for Uni of Sheffield.
Yeah, 5 seconds on the board left of this second quarter, and which will resume after these 3 shots here by Zach. And it's, as you said, it's like clockwork for Zach at this point. It's just increasing that lead over and over again. It's back to a 20-point lead now for Uni of, a 21-point lead now for Uni of, and can in 5 seconds Hallam get some points on the board?
He's got to go for the 3-pointer here, no doubt. He has went for it. Oh, and it's a poor miss, and that's a sour note to end on for Sheffield Hallam, who go into the half-time down by a significant margin, you might say.
Yeah, a very significant margin. It's actually gone to a 23-point lead. Sorry, the scoreboard there was a bit slow to to count those points, but a 23-point lead going into half time. I mean, I don't think I'm the only one that will be thinking this, but I don't think anyone expected that to happen.
No, certainly. I mean, it's 100% been the Zach Moore show so far. The first year debut, Sheffield Hallam didn't know what to expect from him, and he's definitely set the game alight, as he has done in the league all season. Top point scorer for them, and he's undoubtedly going to get that again this game.
Yeah, you can feel that he's going to get that. And I mean, looking on the Hallam side, there has been some bright sparks, one of which being Titus Bazinis, right? Every time a good attack seems to happen, Titus seems to be at the centre of it. You know, and it feels like at this point during the game, we're halfway there now. If things are going to change, the person at the forefront of that is going to be Titus.
Yeah, 100%. They'll definitely be looking to him. He's been fairly prolific, say fairly, from the 3-point range. There's been the odd one which he has missed, which that'll be in the back of his mind certainly, and he'll want to right the wrongs that he has done so far in that first half.
I mean, as the Sabercats come onto the court right now, we'll let you enjoy the performance by the Sabercats, and then we will be back with the third quarter of this game. So enjoy. There's about a minute 30 now where we have returned, a minute 30 away from the start of this third quarter. And some interesting developments at half-time there. While the Sabercats were doing their incredible performance, you could see down on the benches, Hallam were nowhere to be seen.
Certainly not. You'd think that Matt will be giving them some stern words there, as Uni of were out 5 minutes before them just practicing shooting, and you'd think that Mike Tuck maybe hasn't had a lot to say except for words of praise for his side, and they're just, you know, full of confidence so far. But you can't say the same about Uni or for that Hallam side, who are still getting a talking to on the sideline.
You can usually tell how people are feeling by their facial expressions, and Uni are feeling on top of the world, because looking at them during that half time, they were smiling, they were laughing, they were joking around, they were messing around with doing dunks to one another, you know. And then you look at the Hallam players as they're walking on now. It's
they look absolutely defeated. It's only half time. I'm shocked to see it, like what I'm seeing here. They look like they're just like they'd rather go for a pint at half time. Well, I'll be honest, it's absolutely incredible stuff here.
It's that defeatist sort of mentality, but also it might just be that pure shock. You know, it's kind of hit them during that half time, especially if Matt has given them a stern talking to. That you can see that element of that stern faces on all of the players as Hallam get us underway in this third quarter now, with the captain driving it down the court, and Hallam hopefully for themselves getting some points on the board, and some early points indeed, as Courtney Alexander puts it in the basket.
And you think that talk by Matt would have helped them, but it certainly is make or break, that half-time talk. It's up to the players now whether they take on them words or they shy away in what is their biggest game of the season.
I mean, Hallam being having half the points that Uni of had at half-time, you know, which is uncharacteristic for Hallam, but in terms of the defence from Uni of, it's very characteristic actually, as the average points they've conceded has been 54 throughout the season. So the fact that they only conceded 23 at half-time is on par to what they've been doing all season.
Well, certainly, and for both Uni of Sheffield and Sheffield Hallam, this is a situation that neither of them are comfortable with. Neither of them are used to in varsity. Uni of Sheffield being up at half-time compared to Hallam, who are losing. You think that'll sort of affect both teams, not just Hallam, but the fact that Uni of are in a spot that they're not quite used to in years gone by.
That's where the experience you would think would come through. And we mentioned before we actually left for half-time that Titus Bazinis would be the one on the score sheet if Hallam were to get back into this. And Bazinis did it again, but it's immediately almost nullified there by Nathan Hull.
Yeah, certainly the third year there, but again, Titus Bazinis, he is going to be crucial in this second half. As well will Adetayo Meadle-Bramble, who is the captain, and they will be looking to him to be getting some more points on the board. But number 8 for Uni of Sheffield brings out, and is that a foul? That might be a foul going the way of Uni of Sheffield.
Yeah, Mukabe giving away the ball again for Hallam. It's again the basics that seem to be going wrong for Hallam. You know, that pass there by Mukabe, right really on the edge of the D. It's a shame really for Hallam that they've not managed to string those together and really get their attack going, as the number 8 Harry Selick misses there for Uni of.
Quite a poor shot there from him. I imagine that doesn't inspire much confidence in the number 8, but he does make the second one after a mistake by Hallam, who gave away the foul, and that's been the case for a lot of this game so far, hasn't it? Hallam giving up sloppy mistakes, sloppy errors, and have certainly given away a lot more fouls compared to Uni of Sheffield.
Yeah, those 3 points that you would expect, like, to maybe be the difference maker in terms of the tight margins, but it's a difference maker in the large margins here in this game, as Bazinis again getting on the score sheet. But it seems like those 3 shots, as you said, those little mistakes, giving away those fouls, is really what's helped Uni of build that such a large lead.
It's absolutely incredible. He's mentioned Bazinis again. I'm going to be hearing that name in my sleep tonight. The amount of points he's managed to get for what is a Hallam side not in his best form, but you can always rely on him. As there's a block here, and it's contest, and there's a turnover, and Uni of Sheffield will bring it out. Number 5 here, Levy Wright. It's getting very scrappy here, and there's a foul which has gone the way of Uni of Sheffield yet again.
Something that needs to be pointed out was that lovely block there by Charlie Ratcliffe, the 6'9" giant for Uni of, managing to stop Courtney Alexander, getting more points on the score sheet for Hallam. You know, it's that desperation defence, but quality in that defence as well.
I mean, he's just doing what he does best at that height. Expect him to be making them. As number 7, Jack Loisel, and number 6, Romeo Ramel, 2 of Union Sheffield's star players coming on, and Sheffield Hallam will not enjoy seeing them coming onto the court.
Surely it's a concern for Hallam. You know, you've started off this third quarter, you've started off it reasonably well, and now Uniov have decided to bring on their danger men. It's like, it's almost as if Uniov had that, because of such a large margin, have been able to actually rest their best players a little bit more than maybe they would usually.
Yeah, they were certainly at second string when they did come back out for the second half. Didn't have all their key players on, but still managed to maintain that lead. And the fact that they've now brought on Romeo Ramel and Jack Loisel now, they'll not be enjoying seeing them come on.
Not at all, as Hallam build it up lovely there, but just they don't manage to pay it off. You know, they do these lovely moves quite often, but their shooting boots just aren't on today.
It certainly seems to be in the final third. Oh, there's a man down here. Yeah, it certainly seems to be in the final third where Hallam just aren't being clinical enough, and that's a surprise to me, as they are usually in the past years. As number 49, James Cockrell comes on, replacing, surprisingly, number 7, Adetayo Beadle Bramble. Do you think that's to keep some fresh legs, because need him for the fourth quarter, or has he perhaps not been on his best form since the second half started?
I think it's a tactical decision, really, to rest your players, as we've just seen there Nathan Hull getting on the score sheet again. He's getting on there a few times at this rate, but they have brought on James Cockrell, who has had the most minutes of any fresher, and actually it's even been pointed out to us that he's actually a really good sub to have. He can play multiple positions on the court. He's had to fill different positions due to injury throughout the season for Hallam. He seems like a reliable person to have on the court, and if you're going to take on the captain for anyone, it's your most reliable sub on the bench.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we could say about both teams, the squad depth that we've got, it's absolutely incredible for both. But in particular, Union Sheffield, who we're able to bring on number 6, Romeo Ramel there, who is a star player here, and he's absolutely incredible so far. As Sheffield Hallam go close there, but again, missing that final shot. The composure has just been fully off today. As number 12 brings it forward, Zach Moore. Oh, it's absolutely incredible stuff. And they're going to go for the three-pointer here, maybe. Number 13, Nathan Hull. Oh, not quite.
But yet again, as Zach manages to get more points on the board for Uni of, but you saw that shot there by Nathan Hull. It nearly goes out the court, but it seems like, yes, Uni of are miles ahead right now, but they still put that heart and desire to stop the ball from going out of the court. They still made that effort to stop it going outside of the court, and they reached the rewards because they managed to get an extra 3 points on the board.
And again, we saw the Sheffield Hallam miss another three-pointer. I feel like they might need to sort of change up the style here. They seem to be going for these three-pointers, but just seems to lack that confidence, lack that composure at the end. And as we see, number 34 come off for Hallam. He's not been on his best performance. That is Muka Adelakun, who has come off.
But someone who has been on his best performance, Zach Moore, coming off for Uni of. We've questioned before whether they're maybe going to rest their players a little bit more than usual, and maybe this is an example of it there by the Uni of, as it actually got the ball got kicked there, giving the foul away. So we're going to see the ball in Sheffield Hallam's hands.
Yeah, certainly. You think that Union Sheffield are sort of giving rest to their key players as a result of that point cushion that they've got, so comfortable. As again, they're unable to take advantage of that shot in the paint there. And again, Union Sheffield come forward where you'd expect them to favour their tally here.
Yeah, you would expect this conversation to happen the other way round. Of, you know, you would expect some Hallam to attack and increase their lead, but instead, that momentum's with Uniov. Uniov are the team that every time they attack, you're feeling, that it's going to score. And that's a poor communication there between Titus Bazinis and James Cockerell. I mean, we've mentioned that James has had the most minutes of any fresher, but maybe that's showing that lack of communication, maybe that lack of experience between the two of them, where, they didn't really communicate as much as they usually should.
Yeah, that certainly is a lack of experience, as he's then got his foot onto the ball here, to which there'll be a timeout that Mike Tuck, I believe, has called. And he'll certainly be very pleased with how his team have done so far here, as he goes and handshakes every one of his players.
Yeah, a 23-point lead still there for Uniov, as we are over halfway through the third quarter now, and the time is very much ticking away, and ticking away fast for Hallam. 23 points has almost been the lead from the beginning. From that very first quarter, it seems like Uniov have just managed to maintain that momentum. No matter how much Hallam throw at them, they throw the same amount at them, if not more.
Yeah, most certainly. And what we saw at half time is Uniov side looking a lot more jubilant coming out. That seems to be the exact same now. Uniov team smiling, but the Sheffield Hallam side look depleted, defeated, and just absolutely out of it. They haven't got their head in the game one bit here.
No, not got their head in the game at all. As the Hallam players are actually all in a huddle right now, and that's really one of the first times we've seen that throughout this entire game. And maybe it's just that sign that they're feeling in themselves that they're going to have to work harder as a team and as a collective and become more of a collective to be able to get in this game. Because as of right now, it is Uniov's to lose.
It certainly is. It's just the lack of enthusiasm coming from the Maroon side. It's just absolutely incredible. They look very flat-footed. They just have been second-rate all over the shop here today.
Yeah, they have been. And the other thing that, unfortunately for Hallam, that's flat is their fan support right now, who just you haven't heard a word out of, and you actually, just from sitting here, you can see bit of confusion from the fans, where the fans are almost like putting their hands up in the air. They haven't really got a clue what's going on, because this is not the usual performance you would see from Hallam, and a better performance from Uniov than you've seen before. It seems like Uniov have upped their game, and Hallam just haven't turned up today.
Yeah, certainly. The fans look absolutely stood. It's stone cold silence over there. You could hear a pin drop as Hallam was saying on the attack here, and not one of their fans are being vocal, cheering on their team as Uniov come forward. Number 7 here, Jack Loisel. He receives it again. Oh, it's very close. A turnover. As 49, James Cockerell, the fresher, comes forward.
Yeah, Courtney Alexander again there, not quite finishing it, as it finally goes in for Hallam through Kieran Glover, who manages to get it in. But they nearly gave the ball away there and conceded again, which would have been disastrous for Hallam.
Yeah, most certainly. I believe it may be been a foul here. Certainly, Union Sheffield will collect the ball here. I believe it did go out past the touchline. There we saw a rare bit of confidence, a bit of inspiration from Glover, as an incredible three-pointer there from, is that number 4? Absolutely incredible, Jacob Adams.
Yeah, a great shot there, and it just increases that point lead again. It's like every time Hallam score, Uniov score again. As Titus, we keep saying that man's name, but Titus Bazinis again on the score sheet for Sheffield Hallam, and as we've said multiple times, seems to be that one bright spark in a team that just aren't pulling a lot of their best out on the court there.
Yeah, certainly. He's certainly one of the very few players who doesn't seem very defeated so far. As again, number 32, takes it out. He's going for a three-pointer. Oh, not far from the rim there.
No, Titus has his shooting shoes on today, and it's that little bit of lack of faith in the rest of his side, who keep missing a lot of their shots while he's getting them in. He's taken on shots that maybe he wasn't necessarily doing earlier on in the game, as that's a lovely pass there by Bazinis to James Cockerell. And it's gone back to Bazinis now, who I thought was going to take the shot, but he didn't do it, and Right now, Hallam are in desperate need of some points on this board.
And they always, of course, turn to Adebayo Meadle Bramble for that. He's been not on his best form today, but if he can turn that around in the remaining seconds of this third quarter and fourth quarter, then they'll be feeling very confident, and that is the man they, of course, turn to.
2 minutes now before the end of the third quarter, as Courtney Alexander gets another opportunity there, and you can see it on his face. It was just disappointment. He knows he's not playing his best today, and you sort of saw his body go lump when it didn't go in. Is that belief starting to come out of that Hallam side now?
I can't quite see it, especially from Courtney Alexander, who, again, he's not had his best day at the office here so far. Plenty of blanks. Oh. And Uniov do convert. There's another 2 points on the board.
Yeah, Uniov up to 59 now. That scoreline is just increasing as we go to the final minute. The timer is ticking down. But Uniov aren't concerned about that right now. They aren't concerned about the fact that the timer is ticking down, because right now that timer is going in their favour.
Yeah, certainly. As soon as the timer goes further down, the game goes more in the favour of Union Sheffield. They'll be more than happy to let the clock go down here. As Sheffield Hallam, it sort of explains why they're so straight at it. But again, that confidence is not there from the Hallam side, whereas it's in abundance this Union side.
Yeah, Union it's like a very tight unit, as Titus again goes for the shot.
A rare miss there from Titus.
A very rare miss, but as I mentioned before, maybe it's a sign that he just feels like the rest of his team might not have their shooting shoes on and might not be able to get those baskets and those points on the board, because he seems to be the one getting pretty much the majority, if not all of the points on the board for Hallam.
Certainly, and I think Hallam coach Matt might be starting to get a bit worried. It's the first time we've seen the coach standing up so far. He's been very quiet so far, and he seems to have taken on a similar stance to Mike Tuck, who embraces his player number 11, Ibzi Kamara, as he comes onto the bench.
Yeah, it was one of those quite funny embraces as well, where Tuck seems to be trying to keep their spirits up, constantly having a joke and a laugh with the team to stop them almost, it feels like, thinking about that scoreline and thinking about that end goal. And it's a beautiful interception there by Lamar Campbell, who ran at the other end but doesn't manage to pull it away as the buzzer goes off for the end of the third quarter. And we go into the final quarter with there being 24 points in it. Uniov on 59, Hallam on 35. I mean, at this point, it has to be Uniov's, right?
Yeah, most certainly. Just looking at the squad morale, they're absolutely loving it. It's almost like a training game for Union of Sheffield here, who everything is going their way so far, and there's only 1 quarter left for Hallam to turn it around, and it's a very slim chance of that happening now.
Yeah, a slim chance indeed, as you can see the contrast. Uniov are standing up, embracing each other. The Hallam players immediately sat down. It almost feels like a little part of them are feeling that, do you know what? Maybe it is all said and done, and you can never feel like that, especially in a game like this. We've seen how quickly Uniov in that first quarter especially put points on that board and put points on the board quickly. All Hallam have to do is that. All they have to do is exactly what Uniov did in that first quarter and just put points on the board quick and fast without conceding any chances. It's possible. It's unlikely, but it's definitely possible.
It doesn't look possible here with the body language of the Hallam side. I've seen number 49, James Cockrell, head in his hands, head in his shirt. He definitely thinks his game is all but over, and he looks tired and defeated, and that's certainly not what we want to be seeing as a Hallam fan.
No, James has seen his team in a load of different positions, like we mentioned before, from all different sides of the pitch. And, as a fresher especially, it's very unlikely for you to be able to keep your head screwed on at this point, to be able to keep you cool, keep level-headed, whereas it's in stark contrast to someone like Zach Moore, who is a fresher, who is a first year, but everything seems to be going in his way today. You know, when everything's going in your way, you're able to keep that cool a lot more than you would do if you are someone like James Cockerell, who, you know, hasn't been on the stage before, but also is in a position where Hallam aren't used to this whatsoever. And how do you come back from this? That's what he'll be thinking in his head. And he starts on the bench as we go into the fourth quarter, and it's with the Hallam captain, as Hallam have a mountain to climb, but it's surely possible.
You'd think so, with the quality that Hallam have on their side, but you'd think they just haven't sort of used it as of yet. They've had the odd moment of brilliance, particularly from Titus Bazinas, but again, the rest of his side seem to have let him down slightly, because he has had that winning mentality the entire game, but the rest of the side just hasn't shown it so far.
No, they haven't shown it at all, as that's a lovely, lovely drive there by Charlie Ratcliffe, who manages to go into the centre, and I think has managed to draw the foul as well, which, I mean, is great to see for himself, but actually it seemed to have gone out. I did get that wrong there. It seemed like they were setting up for the free shot, but that isn't what's going on. But something that I have seen from Zach Moore as well, as Uniova maintain their attack, is he's been encouraging the side as Ratcliffe manages to pull it in the basket. He does reap his rewards for his hard work.
Yeah, most certainly. He's been described before the game as a powerhouse in the paint, and we've most certainly seen it there. No stopping him there, the 6'9" giant.
Yeah, back to what I was saying before about Zach Moore, who is currently on the board, is at the start of this fourth quarter, he was like cheering on his players. He was like, he was asking them for more passion, you know, from them for them to cheer themselves up. That's the sign of a leader, and to have that leadership mentality in your first year at the club is mightily impressive.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible to see as number 5 go after an incredible three-pointer there, Levy Wright. Again, also his first year in the club. A lack of experience in this Union side, but you wouldn't believe it looking at this game, would you?
No, you wouldn't believe it whatsoever. It's like the lack of experience is actually working in their favour, because it's almost as if they don't know what's happened in previous years. They don't understand maybe the magnitude of, you know, the mountain they have to climb to be able to beat Hallam. It's almost like because they're all mostly freshers that they don't know that. They're treating this as if it's just any other game, and it seems to be working in their favour, as again it's poor passing by Hallam.
Oh, it's overturned here by Hallam. But again, and number 8 coming forward. No doubt he gets a slam dunk here. And the Hallam crowd, for the first time this half, made a bit of noise.
A lot of noise from that Hallam crowd, but it will mean nothing if this goes in now. And that's a miss by Levy Wright. But luckily for Hallam, luckily for them, that didn't go in, because otherwise that roar would have meant absolutely nothing. It seems like the two bright sparks right now are Titus and Courtney Alexander, who just... if something is going right for Hallam, they're at the forefront of it. As I thought there might be a foul given there, but it seems like it hasn't been, as that goes in there for Titus. We mention him over and over again, and he keeps delivering.
Yeah, certainly. It's starting to sound like a broken record here. Again, Titus Bazinas getting that three-pointer. He must have had at least half of Hallam's points so far. It's absolutely incredible. But Uniov again come through, and I believe they will have the ball here after a sub here, as number 4 Jacob Adams comes on to replace. Bit of confusion as to who it is. No, it's going to be number 13 Nathan Hull. Number 8, sorry, Harry Selleck, the second year in his club, and he'll be coming off.
Yeah, I mean, that 23-point lead, I know we keep sounding like a broken record, as pointed out before, but that 23-point lead is there again. And we thought it was going to get extended, as those were two really good chances there for Uni of. But it doesn't quite go in for them. But that 23-point lead for Uni of, it just continues to stay at that level. And when it's at that level with the time ticking down, you know, we're a quarter of the way through this final quarter, it's getting really tough for them.
Yeah, certainly. We've got a mountain to climb here now. Sheffield Hallam, after what is over a 30-point gap. It's absolutely incredible stuff here at Sheffield Hallam. See, number 7, Adebayo Meadle Bramble. The first half, he was coming through. But he has done very well there in the paint, getting another 2 points. But as I was saying before, he seems to lack a bit of urgency, because he was one of the most prolific, one of the most electric players in the first half, but he seems to have just lost that confidence.
And a common theme again, as Levy Wright does manage to get those points on the board, it's the fact that every time Hallam go up the one end and score, Union go immediately up the other end and score themselves. You know, just maintaining that lead consistently throughout this entire game. And when it constantly is happening to you, I mean, mentally you must really struggle to comprehend what's going on.
Yeah, that mental mindset surely is what Uni of Sheffield have in abundance here. They're taking advantage of that. You can see they've sort of responding every time Sheffield Hallam are able to get what is a fairly rare point. They always go up the other end and do respond imminently, which just seems that see that the Sheffield Hallam players just see their hard work just unravelled in front of them.
Yeah, it's you know, it's really difficult when you are on that court. You are trying to build up that momentum. You feel the energy from the crowd, and then it just immediately gets sucked out by Union as they go up the other end, and they're going up again, and it looks like they're possibly going to get more points on the board, and they do get more on the board as Nathan Hull, who underratedly is getting a lot of points on the board here for Union, but gets on the score sheet yet again.
Yeah, he slightly went under the radar, but he is Mr. Consistent. Oh, as there's a slam dunk there. Number 8, Courtney Alexander, again getting the Hallam side on their feet, but I believe it's too little too late for the boys in maroon.
Yeah, he's been absolutely key today, both in attack and defence. But unfortunately, in this game, as that's a lovely, lovely shot there.
Guess who?
Guess who? I've lost my train of thought for a second there, because Uni of just keep getting points on this board, and we keep trying to make these points about how Hallam have done well, and then it's just immediately unravelled over and over again by Uni of.
Yeah, you're certainly not the only one lost for words, seeing an absolute, I think it's safe to describe a masterclass from Jake and Adams on them 3 points. Sheffield Hallam still have it in the paint, but again it's wasteful. It's intercepted by number 13, Nathan Hull, who has been a shining star in the side, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, we're halfway through this fourth quarter now, and that lead is, it's such a large lead at this point. It's 28 points, and with only 5 minutes to go, there's surely no way back for Hallam now.
Yeah, and you can see that from the Uni of side, who have brought off Zach Moore. That shows their confidence to bring off what has been their star man so far in this game and this season, and you'd think that they've surely secured it by now.
You'd think so. Maybe bringing off Zach is actually quite a clever move by Mike Tuck, because you've taken off your prolific man, you take him off for a few minutes, and you bring him on for the final couple. So if some sort of miracle does happen and Hallam manage to get back into this game, you then bring on your most prolific point scorer to hopefully seal the deal right at the end.
Yeah, that won't inspire confidence at all with Sheffield Hallam, as having that asset on the Uni of bench. Oh, and it does go in, and Hallam not quite causing a comeback here, but they have sort of came back into it in this quarter.
Yeah, Courtney Alexander there trying to get it in, but it has been ruled out due to it going around the ring as he tried to pull it in. So unfortunately, an illegal dunk there, but it's one that hopefully inspires a little bit of confidence into Hallam's side of, you know what, we can get these points on the board, because last year they won by 12 points. This has been a turnover of, 40 points from last year. You're going to want to reduce that deficit and reduce that change that has happened in just the space of 1 year.
Yeah, it has been a change of fortunes, as we see the surprise event of Uni of Sheffield giving away a foul, I believe. Yes, we have, and this will be, is that number 7 for Hallam?
It is. It's the captain. The captain leading the charge. 4 minutes left on the clock, and he leads the charge, and he does get a point on the board. And he tried to jeer the Union side there, but I mean, when you're so far behind, can you afford to do that? I mean, he's getting a bit of stick from the ref, and it's not looking good for the captain.
Well, certainly not. And the Uni offside, we're pointing at something. They're not too pleased either, but now applauding now as he's going to go for his second point here. Beadle Bramble, the captain, got a lot of pressure on his, and he does make it. But he still looks defeated despite getting them 2 points there.
It's not. I feel like it's not just defeated. It's relief. You know, there was a puff of like, whoa, I'm so glad that went in, because I think after giving the Uni of crowd a bit of stick, getting a bit told off by the ref, you kind of knew you had to get that second one in, and luckily for him, he did manage to get that in and reduce that deficit.
Yeah, that shot was all about personal accolades there, just saving his own skin. But it's a team game here, a team game that Uni of Sheffield are undoubtedly going to win here as they further their lead.
Yeah, they get up to the 74-point mark, which surpasses their average points scored for the Uni of side. So Uni of are clearly, especially in the attacking sense, outperforming what they usually do. And I don't think that's really a surprise from what we have seen, that this is a better performance than what they've done for the rest of the season, because it very much feels like they have stepped up that game.
Yeah, certainly, particularly them key players, Zach Moore, to name a few. And he's been absolutely incredible. Again, number 7, not quite able to get that. That was Jack Loisel, 6th year at the club, and will hopefully, more likely than not, be getting his first win at Varsity. How much will that mean to him?
It'll mean so very much to him, you know, to do this for his 6th year now, you know, to do something for 5 years and not be able to win, and then to finally do it on your 6th and final year will be incredible, as Imzi Kamara gets on the score sheet there with a 3-pointer, and just you could see the love and affection for one another that the Uni of players have. You know, they immediately went to embrace Imzi. You know, that it seems like that there's a lot of camaraderie really in that Uni of side.
Yeah, certainly, and that shows the confidence. That is a shot that Imzi Kamara isn't used to going for as a centre. You'd more likely to see him in the paint, but for him to go for a 3-pointer and to sink it as well, that's just a cherry on top of the cake of what will most likely be a Uni of Sheffield victory here, the first in over 20 years.
Over 20-year record is going to be broken here today at Varsity, which is incredible to see, but it won't be, unfortunately, incredible for is that Hallam side, who, as we mentioned before, do look defeated. They do look disappointed in themselves, because, I mean, deep down they all know they could have done a lot better today.
Yeah, most certainly. And not only the team defeated, the fans are absolutely depleted as well. We've got Hallam fans leaving at the side of the court here. There's very few of them, but still, they've seen enough. They don't want to see them Uni of Sheffield celebrations at full time, which we are definitely going to see in 3 or so minutes.
Yeah, as mentioned, there 3 minutes now until the end of this 4th and final quarter, and it's only a matter of time, really, before we see those celebrations. But that doesn't take away from what these 3 minutes now mean, because it's about Hallam trying to stop that points difference get even larger than it already is. Stop that feeling of embarrassment afterwards and leave this court with a bit of pride.
Yeah, they'll most certainly want to. We've already lost the war, but they'll most certainly want to win the battle, which has been this 4th quarter. But again, it doesn't seem to be going their way, as every quarter Uni of have just been on top, and Sheffield Hallam haven't had a sniff of it.
No, this final quarter, the point score has increased even further. It looks like it's 29 points now going into these final 3 minutes, as Uni of are back on the attack yet again. And we are yet to see the introduction of Zach Moore since he's been taken off in that 5th minute. It seems like they are waiting for those final couple of minutes, maybe just to really rub it in what this scoreline has been, which is a very large one.
I mean, they'll certainly be making history here with their first win, as I said, in 20 years. But it'll be good for personal accolades as well. I imagine this has been one of the best ever varsity performances we've ever seen. It's been absolutely incredible. And for a debutant as well, it's absolute unbelievable from Zach Moore.
It is unbelievable. And, you know, the personal accolade that I think Uni of will be going for right now is the fact that their average points conceded has been 54, as it goes in there for Lamar Campbell, and you hear the cheers from the Uni of fans Going back to what I was saying, the average points conceded for Uni of has been 54. Hallam are currently on 48. So I feel like Uni of are going to try and stop Hallam from reaching that 54-point mark. And then not only would have they exceeded their average points scored, but also done better in their average points conceded as well. And it would be almost like a complete performance then for Uni of.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible for them, but again, uncharacteristic from the Hallam side, who are ironically getting shouted on by the Uni of Sheffield side. Absolutely incredible here. I don't exactly see that very often.
No, you don't see it very often in any sport here at Varsity, let alone the basketball, which has never been Uni of's. It's not. And the lead just increases yet again. It looked like Theo Hunt there getting the points on the board for Uni of, as Uni of surpass 80 points now as we get in towards this final minute of this final quarter.
Yeah, certainly. And again, they're showing a lot of irony from this Uni of Sheffield fan base, who continue to be bizarrely shouting on Hallam. It's showing shades of giving a goalkeeper a man the match after a 7-0 loss in football. It's just the final nail in the coffin for that Hallam side, who look distraught to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, as we go into this final minute, it's all about ending it on a high, getting those points on the board, ending it on that high note. So you can go home and you can go, do you know what? We as a team might have not done well, but I have personally delivered today. And there are a few people in that Hallam side that will be able to feel that, one of which is Corny Alexander, who nearly managed to grab the ball and try and get a basket there for Hallam, but it's back in possession now of Uni of.
Yeah, most certainly. Titus Bazinas is also another player who I've mentioned time and time again, who will be going home, not completely defeated by the fact that he's put in such a good personal performance here. And number 7 goes for 3-pointer. Ooh! And Hallam regained possession here, but we're seeing, again, 16 seconds on the clock. There's not much you can do from this point.
A cheer there by Jack Loisel, the captain, as it seems like Hallam are just going to let the clock run. They're going to let it run. The sportsmanship, I think, here by Hallam, letting the clock run and finally letting the Uni of fans celebrate and the Uni of team celebrate. You heard the roar right at the end by the captain, Jack. 6 years he has waited, 6 years for this moment to win at Varsity. 20 years the Uni of support have been waiting for this win at Varsity, and they have finally got it today.
And of course, that comes under Mike Tuck's first year in charge as Uni of outfit, and you've got to give much of the credit to him. He's been absolutely incredible. He's galvanised the side this season, and all credit goes to him, as well as some standout players: Jacob Adams, Romeo Ramel, Jack Loisel, the big three of this Uni of side, who have been absolutely incredible all season, and I've shown that today.
Yeah, I think I speak for everyone when I say that the man of the match today was quite clearly Zach Moore, who just performed on every single level. It's been an incredible day today at EIS across all the different sports, the futsal, the netball, the basketball. It's been incredible to see. I hope you've all enjoyed it at home as well. I hope you all enjoy your evening. Thank you very much, and good night from me.
Good night from me.
And we'll see you very soon. See you later. Good evening.